Welcome guys to another video of the Financial Pickle. If you guys missed that was a very explosive pickle. With that being said, I have a very interesting video for you guys. I just want to give you a little bit of a background story. I'm a long-time Dave Ramsey supporter. What that means is I live my life without debt. I've always paid cash for most things. I've had loans. Obviously I've had car loans before. But I've paid them off as quickly as possible. I've put as much capital as I could towards those loans, missing out on a lot of investments. And you guys already know by the title of this video where this is gonna head out to. Giving you the background, I'm a long-time Dave Ramsey supporter. I always go with no debt. I'm always saying buy cars cash, never finance a car. However, with recent studies, and not even studies, with the way the financial world has been going on over the last decade, I believe I've changed my mentality a little bit. And in this video, I want to go into detail why I have changed my mentality and why I think differently now, and how is that mentality changing with what's happening in the financial world. Now that you guys know where I'm coming from, let's talk about the main subject of this video and why if you pay off your car in cash currently, that could be one of the biggest financial mistakes you make in your life. Back in the day, it never used to be like that. Back in the day, if you have cash to pay off your car, go ahead. You don't want to have that debt. But I want to cover a few things. I want to cover the benefits of basically financing your car versus cash, and the downfall of financing your car versus cash. I believe that's going to give us a better understanding of where I'm coming from and why I'm coming up with this opinion. So let's get to it. First, let's start with the benefits of buying a car cash. Again, I'm going to start with that. I know you guys are more interested about why I say you shouldn't do that, but I want to start with the benefits first so you guys get a better overall coverage. Let's assume you're getting about $25,000 loan at 4.5% interest. If you guys can calculate that, comment down below what it would be. By the end of the 72-month term, which I'm using that now because that's the current average time that people are getting their loans, the 4.5% is a little bit on a higher scale, but also it works for my example. But at the end of that, you pay about $3,600. $3,580 would be your total amount in interest that you pay additionally if you don't put any money down. So if you pay cash, you're saving about $3,500, which it's not a bad amount of savings. Also, if you pay cash, you don't overspend. If you're paying out of your pocket right away, you don't go for the extra trim of the car or the extra model. You don't go for the high performance one or the luxurious one. You buy what's within your means. And you don't get any extra warranties, you don't get any extra additions added to your total car purchase, which usually a lot of people do. And a few more benefits is you might get some cash back. So in addition to saving the $3,500 interest, I'm rounding it up again, you might get an extra $500 to $1,000 to $5,000 cash back because you're buying the car out of the dealership brand new cash. So you might get a little bit of savings with that, and also you might get a little bit better negotiation power, which now I don't think that's the case. Back in the day it used to be. So those are some of the main benefits when you buy something cash versus actually investing in your car. However, there are some downfalls as well when you pay cash, and this is what I want to focus on, and especially with the current financial environment, this is very important. And here's the downfall of buying stuff cash or buying big purchases in cash. One will be opportunity cost. And what do I mean by opportunity cost? You're getting that $25,000 in capital and you're basically buying a depreciating asset that depreciates it by a lot over the first few years, and that capital is gone. You're losing the opportunity cost of investing the capital and gaining more money. So for example, and I have made the mistake myself with my current car, the Mustang Bullitt I did finance a little bit of it and paid it off within a few months, putting a lot of capital in there and taking it out of my investment portfolio, which was a bad mistake. The market has went up. But let's give you that for example. So let's say you go with a 72 term, which is about 6 years. Let's see what a basic ETF has done over the 6 years. When you finance the car with $25,000, you're paying about 4% interest, 4.5% interest that we're using for example. So let's see what a basic ETF like VUG has done over the last 6 years. And guys, I'm gonna use the actual 5-year overall return, which is 23%. So you can see your opportunity cost has really been reduced. You have lost about 15% of return that you could have gained on the $25,000. So there would have been a massive return. They would have actually covered more than the actual interest that you would have paid, which was about $3,500. It would have covered all of that and given you money on top while you're still paying off the car yes, it is a depreciating asset that you're paying off slowly, but your overall opportunity return is a lot better. So in addition, there's a lot of good financial deals out there when it comes to buying a brand new car. A lot of car dealers are offering 0% interest on specific models, on specific cars. Yes, you do have to have a really good credit history or credit score to get that 0% interest, but it's a big benefit of you not putting the $25,000 in the car right away and actually paying almost no interest to it. Yes, cars tend to be a little bit more expensive when you use the 0% interest because they kind of factor that from the overhead of the car. They want to add more of the price of the car so they can cover some of that interest that that you're not paying. And lastly, that's very important, especially if you're like me, if you're like a Dave Ramsey supporter, you want to have an emergency fund. And if you go out and buy a car cash, most people, I'm saying most people, would definitely lose their emergency funding. They'll fork out all the cash that they've saved over the years, whatever, and they'll put that towards the new car and buy it. Yes, they'll feel great because they won't have any loans hanging over their head, but their emergency fund is going to be destroyed. So what happens then? If something happens in an emergency, you are either going to have to sell the car for a lot cheaper, or you just can't cover the emergency and you go in a downward spiral from there. So after summarizing all that information, giving you a little bit of a detail, here are my thoughts. This is why I decided to go with it's better to invest currently versus paying off the car or buying a car cash. And these are my thoughts. A lot of it comes to a personal opinion. How do you feel at the end of the day? And what does it mean? So how does it feel when you go home, when you sit down on the couch? Do you feel relaxed if you have debt hanging over your head? Or do you feel stressed? Do you feel uneasy about it because you have a pending loan? Obviously, if you lose your job, you're still gonna have the loan that you have to pay and you don't have any income coming in. So that could be very stressful to a lot of people. Me, myself, I would not feel well. That's why I'm always about not having debt, because if something happens, I don't have to owe anyone money and I can have a better time recovering. But with the way the market is right now, the interest rates are so low that you're almost getting free money. When you go ahead and get a car loan, they're about 1.9%. If you go with a credit union, you can definitely find something around that range. So with an average return of the market about 7 to 8%, the basic S&P gives us that, you tend to make more money in the long term. However, again, it's up to you guys if you can sleep better at night with a loan or if you can sleep better at night without a loan. That is what I mean by a personal preference. Another issue that we get into with financing a car that we always have to be careful about is the extra add-ons. We add extra warranties, we add gap coverage, we add any additions to the car. We tend to go for a higher model, which can get us in trouble. We are going to end up spending more money than our budget allows, which in return is going to prevent us from investing more, or some of the capital that we're trying to preserve by financing a car, it's going to go towards that in the long term. So we have to be very careful with that as well. In addition, I skimmed over this a little bit as well, but now is the perfect environment to where you can actually buy debt or get debt very cheap and be able to invest your capital and make more money. It's very rare that happens. Once the car interest rates go up to 4%, if you're paying 5%, then the risk reward, it's not really worth it. If you're paying about 5% interest in a car loan, honestly, you should not get that. But now, because interest rates are so cheap, especially when it comes to car loans, and the terms are very favorable, that is almost free. So it's better to invest your capital now versus putting it into a depreciating asset because of that reason. But again, if interest rates go up to 4%, 5%, then it starts to get like a little bit of a gray area, because you're not always going to get that 7 to 8% return every year because of the risk the market holds or contains. And you're not going to get that extra benefit of maybe making more money by investing. You might actually end up losing because you're paying more interest and you have to cover more interest. So you never know. The market can have a downturn, you're paying higher interest, you might get two negatives, which is never good. And keep in mind, you can never guarantee positive returns in the market. Depending on your investment strategies, things can change. The market can have a downturn. You guys saw in March when the pandemic hit, the market collapsed completely. That can cause some issues. So it's not always a certain thing that the market is going to keep going up, but historically the market has went up, and it's averaged about 7 to 8%, if not more now, a year going up. Granted, over some years it's had really negative results, but you've had years of recovery that's caught up and actually made up on those negative results. So that can always happen. But again, keep in mind, it's not always guaranteed return when you put your money in the market. So to put everything in context, I believe in the current financial environment, it's better off to actually get a loan on your car or finance your car versus paying cash, because you can get more return. But with time, maybe next year, the interest rates are gonna go up. The market might not be doing as well because of the interest rates going up. So they might change. So it's always case by case scenario. Obviously, we also have to look at ourselves. What are our budgets? What can we afford? How much can we invest? But in general term, it's better to have that capital either sit in your emergency fund, being invested somewhere, getting a return, because it would always, or almost always cover the interest rate that you're gonna spend throughout the life of the loan. And it's not gonna leave your bank account. Honestly, when you think about it, guys, when you put that much capital into a depreciating asset, it actually reduces your net worth overall, because you lose that money and the car depreciates. So it's really bad. So when you go online and when you hear people saying, oh my gosh, I paid off my car right away, I feel so good without having a car loan. What did they really have to sacrifice? Did they have to sacrifice a lot of their capital they could have invested to earn more money? I understand they feel great. I understand for them it's a great thing not to have that loan stressing them or hanging over their head. But to me, it's a poor financial choice. Things have shifted. I'll use Dave Ramsey here as a point, because he's always about, no, you have to pay for cars cash. I agree, but you guys got to understand that his audience is different. He's actually trying to help people that really don't have money, and they should not be financing cars to begin with. They should be driving some type of a hoopty that's more within their budget. And that's what Dave Ramsey is focusing on. This is a completely different level. This is for people that have a little bit of money they can invest or play around with, and they're deciding between, oh, should I buy this cash, or actually should I invest some of that and put some as down payment and lease the rest, or finance the rest. So with all that being said, I hope this video made you think about a few things. Please comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Is it better to pay for your car cash, or is it better to finance your car, or is it better to lease a car? Leasing is, I'm not a fan of leasing, period, but some people like it as well. But to me, put down below in the comments, what is it better, to buy a cash or finance the car? Just let me know down below. Let me know what your opinions are. I gave you guys my opinion. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, maybe learned a few different things, or maybe now you're thinking about financing a car differently, just smash the like button. That will really help this video grow, help my channel grow overall as well. And if you're just visiting the channel for the first time, check out some of the previous content. There's very valuable videos. Let me know what you guys think also in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're new again, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later at the Financial Pickle.